The question is, what do views return? In the previous demo, we saw that views can return either HTML lowercase or uppercase messages. Let's see when to use which one. Think of the lowercase message as a generic placeholder for some type. The actual name is a convention to show it's a placeholder for a concrete type of message that can be defined later. The big idea is for a view to return lowercase messages as long as it doesn't produce interesting events, such as on-click for buttons. In contrast, HTML uppercase message is a concrete type, not just a placeholder. The concrete type is user-defined, like we did in the demos. If a view produces events that we care about, such as clicking a button, then the view returns HTML with a concrete type. Overall, if a view has no interactivity, return lowercase messages. If the view needs to be interactive, return uppercase messages. Let's add more interactivity to the shopping cart and prepare to submit the order. First, we are going to show the total amount of the order. Second, we are going to add input number types for product quantities so that we can adjust quantities for each product. Furthermore, we are going to remove products with invalid quantities such as 0 or negative values. Finally, we are going to add a submit button for the order. To prevent invalid orders, the button needs to be disabled when the cart is empty. Let's start by showing the total cost of the order just after the table. Add a new div between the table and the buttons. With the text total amount in dollars, to get the total amount, use list map with an anonymous function that takes a product and multiplies its quantity and unit price for each product in the model. Pipe results into the list sum function to get their sum. Keep piping into string from int to convert the result to a string. Finally, pipe to the text function to display the total amount. By the way, we have a styling typo here. It should be container. Save and refresh the page. The total amount appears over here. Very good. Notice that we can adjust quantities for all products with these buttons, but we cannot adjust individual quantities. To solve this, let's use input number types for quantities. In the item view, delete the part which displays product quantities and call input, auto import it, as attribute add type. Notice it has an underscore to prevent confusion with the type keyword. Give type the number argument to restrict content to numbers. And set the input value to a string with the product quantity. Remove the extra comma, save the file, and refresh the page. Notice that we can adjust quantities using the small arrows or by entering values directly. However, these values are not stored in the model. Pressing a button is going to wipe out all the new values. Let's make these fields interactive by implementing onInput events. The new message variant needs a payload with two strings, one with product name and another one with product quantity. In the message definition, add product quantity with two strings. Then add onInput event, which sends a product quantity message with a target product name. The other string with the new quantity is sent automatically. Since item view sends a concrete message, we need to change its return type from the generic lowercase message to the concrete uppercase message. Next, we need to handle the new message variant in the update function. Add product quantity and the two strings, target name and input quantity. We need to look into the list of products, find the product with target name, and set its quantity to the new input quantity. Use list map with an anonymous function applied on the model. The anonymous function takes a product and checks. If product name is equal to the target name, then return its updated quantity. Product quantity. Watch out, product quantity is an integer, while input quantity is a string, so we need to convert it first. Call string to int on input quantity. However, a string can also have invalid values, so the conversion might fail. The solution is to pipe the result into a maybe with a default value of 1. The idea is that if a user enters a typo, then the web app will use a value of 1 instead of crashing. If the product is not target name, then just return the product without any changes. Save the file, then refresh the page. Notice that input values are really used by the application. Both the number of items and total amount are updated automatically. Still, if we decrease quantities, then the web app uses invalid negative values. Let's remove products with 0 or negative quantities. Add a filter to the model. Pipe to a list filter that keeps only products with positive quantities, quantity larger than 0. Copy the filter and paste it to the change quantity function so that it also keeps only positive quantities. Again, save and refresh the page. Decreasing a quantity of 1 is going to remove the product. Pressing the decrease quantities button a few times is going to empty the cart completely. Very good. Now let's add a submit button here. To do this, copy and paste an existing button. Remove its event, change its styling to outline, primary, and its text to place order. Also remove the comma. To prevent invalid orders, add the disabled attribute, auto import, which expects a Boolean condition. Call list length on the model and compare the length to 0. This means an empty model is going to disable the button. Let's check if it works. Save and refresh the page. The new button is enabled, although it has no functionality yet. Decrease quantities until the cart is empty. Notice the button is now disabled and can't even be clicked, which prevents empty orders. Congratulations for making the shopping cart so interactive. We looked into growing Elm web apps by handling a lot of events using message variants with payloads such as integer or string. We refactored the shopping cart with confidence since the Elm compiler guided us when something went wrong. Then we edited the cart by adding new products or incrementing quantities for existing products. Finally, in this clip, we prepared the shopping cart to validate and make it ready to submit the order. Now, the web app needs to talk to an external API to send order details and receive answers.